The Dallas Cowboys are 0-1 and without their starting quarterback. Notre Dame is also without its starting quarterback. We're going to break that down. And Georgia jumps to number 1 in the college football rankings. I'm Jake Crane. It's Tuesday. Welcome to Crane & Company. The Dallas Cowboys are already off to an auspicious start after scoring only 3 points and losing Dak Prescott for an extended amount of time, all after just week 1. But the problem goes much deeper than that. Now, notice I use the word problem, not problems, because they have one problem that is so big it dwarfs all the others around them. That is owner, president, GM, and Dark Emperor Jerry Jones. Most of us know this, and it might be obvious, but the question is not just who, but why. To me, the answer is very simple. Jerry Jones thinks he knows everything. Not only that, he's stopped hiring guys that would possibly say no to anything since it ran his former teammate Jimmy Johnson out of town. Save maybe Bill Parcells, who we know was already had a foot out the door of the coaching profession anyway. But Wade Phillips, Chan Gailey, Dave Campo, Jason Garrett, and now, sitcom dad Mike McCarthy. What do all these guys have in common? They are yes men, and they are afraid of him. The thought of rocking the Jerry Jones boat probably sends cold shivers down their spines. Now, there's a difference between saying no for valid reasons and just being defiant, but Jones has made more bad moves than Kirk Cousins do in the gritty. But he won't take accountability for that. It's those damn coaches' fault, he tells the media. Yeah, Jerry, the guys you hired. I'm going to bring in our assistant, co-host David Cohn. I'm thinking about assistant
I'll be whatever
coaches.
you need.
David, coffee, please. Yes, hey, yeah. That's not. Don't miss.
I asked for a cappuccino. This is a decaf cafe latte.
Don't pour it over me. You know foam leaves me bloated and gassy. But former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, former Western Colorado wide receiver, and also my brother, apparently, Blaine Crane. Guys, listen, the Cowboys, it's low-hanging fruit. It's an easy target. But when you really look, the main problem, and we all know, is Jerry Jones. But there are reasons for that, and they're not just surface-level reasons. I think this guy is just such a big narcissist that he never thinks he's wrong. How could you, as the owner, president, and GM, you make all the decisions? The buck stops with you. Hiring, firing, and we know all the drama that have gone on. There's a reason that you haven't won a Super Bowl in so long. Because for the Cowboys, it's about Super Bowls, not NFC Easts. It's about winning the Super Bowl and the history that they've had, with Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson and guys like that. It's just, and Barry Switzer as well.
Barry Switzer.
It's just gotten to the point where Jerry Jones he's like if Geppetto set Pinocchio on fire.
Last night, first of all, that's funny. Last night I was thinking, how can I talk about Jerry Jones and say something positive? Let's just get off on a good foot. And I was thinking, all right, Jerry Jones in the late 80s, had a lot of success in the oil industry. His family had a lot of success in the insurance business, bought the Cowboys franchise for, $100 million, something like that. Now it's valued at $8 billion, right? So if you have that mindset where you're like, man, look, I built up this franchise, I resurrected it, won 3 Super Bowls in that time span, you have to be thinking, I can do it all. Like you said, I know everything. Like, I'm the reason for that success. I'm the one who took a chance on this franchise that had success in the 70s, and I won 3 Super Bowls with him here. But the thing, like you said, Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, even Deion Sanders, those guys, they haven't won a Super Bowl without all those guys.
Exactly.
None of them are walking through that door right now.
And
it just feels to me like Jerry Jones is now bigger than the Cowboys brand, or at least as big as the Cowboys brand. If I ask you, if I asked a casual fan, who's the owner of the Cardinals? The Arizona Cardinals. Like, casual fans might not know who the owner is of some of these franchises, but everyone knows who Jerry Jones is. Yeah. And maybe he wants it that way. Maybe the Dallas Cowboys are the type of franchise where you need to know the owner. It needs to be this bigger than life. Everything's bigger in Texas, oil tycoon type mentality. But to me, if you become bigger than the brand and it hasn't been working, maybe that's the problem.
Well, number one, he low-key looks like Emperor Palpatine.
Scares me.
If you look at him. But I believe, and again, I wasn't there, okay, but doing some research, It looks like he got his start after college because he was a good player at Arkansas, won a national championship at Arkansas. I believe it was in
Frank Broyles, right?
in 64. I believe he borrowed $1 million from the Teamsters.
Yep, the Hoffa.
The Jimmy Hoffa, the Teamsters. And then he opened a couple Shakey's Pizzas, and it just took off.
Shakey's Pizzas?
That's what I read. But let me tell you something. Winning football games, it's not like making a pepperoni pizza, okay? You can use whatever euphemism you want. Again, you had great players. That's a great point. Great players win games. Great coaches help great players win games. But it just seems to me, and now Cooper Rush comes in, good season, it's over. At this point, do you think Jerry Jones will ever give up power blame, or is it just going to have to be somewhere until he turns, they beam him up to the spaceship?
He will never give up power. Why would he? Hadn't given up now. How old is he? Like 180?
Yeah.
He's not going to give up power.
He's the best shape of his life.
It's not about the Cowboys staff. It's not about Dak Prescott. It's not about the defense. It's not about Michael Parsons. It's about Jerry Jones. That's what it's about. It's about him. He's always wanted that, but he can sit here and say what he wants, but he wants the spotlight on him. But it's football. Football's back. It's when the Falcons are blowing leads and the Cowboys are blowing.
That's so true.
Football's back.
That's 100%
so it's nothing new with the Cowboys. It just feels like too many cooks in the kitchen to me.
Yeah, no, it is. Again, when you have 9 people steering the ship.
Well, let me ask you this. What happens after Jerry Jones? What happens after the Jerry Jones tenure and his sons take over? Do you think they learn from this, or is it just more dysfunction for Cowboys fans?
Can we pull the picture back up of Jerry Jones' face?
Yeah, let's pull that back up.
What are you saying? He's not ever going to die?
If his sons look anything like this, then no.
Yeah, I'm just... Again,
good.
You can never trust a guy you can fit a cereal box in his smile.
Creepers 4.
Like, it just, again...
Did you say Jeepers Creepers 4?
Yeah, I picture like him like flying around like a house out like in Iowa or something. Like,
there's no need to be mean to the guy.
I'm not being mean. Sure, he's a great guy. But
are we sure he's a great guy?
No.
Are we sure he's a great guy?
Really not. Let's be honest.
You think the team
He'd probably come in here and try and fire you. This isn't even his company. He'd try and fire you.
Yeah, disagree with him. Hey, guess what? You're fired.
Y'all want to open a couple Shakey's Pizzas? See how it goes? Y'all want to pull the money in together?
I'm all in.
But all right, but let's go to the Booster Club real quick.
Mike RFF Lifestyle says Jerry Jones uses the dark magic for sure.
Dude, he's Slytherin grad 100%.
Charles Moore says Jerry Jones makes more money with mediocre teams than Super Bowl winning teams. With the team as they are now, fans continue to buy merch and think that there's hope, but no need to spend max contract money on anybody.
Well, are the Cowboys kind of like Nebraska right now? Like, you got great fan base support. People are buying jerseys. We know the Star is one of the biggest brand names. Like Nebraska, you sold out. Scott Frost wasn't winning anything, and you were selling out games like crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, the brand is so big that I guess it's kind of a self-made machine that keeps feeding itself. But man, I'm looking at it, and if you're a Cowboys fan, man, it's got to be tough.
It's got to be tough. I think they deserve better. I think I wouldn't put them on the Nebraska plane just yet because they have had some playoff seasons. Even with Jason Garrett, it was kind of a thing where, man, when people would say maybe this is the year, at least you could believe in the possibility. In terms of what the comment was, no need to pay guys max deals. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Well, they kind of did, right? Like Zeke and Dak, like that was one of my bigger things where I think they overpaid those guys.
With Zeke, it's looking like they definitely.
Zeke looked better than that.
No, he looks better, but he still does not look like old Zeke. I know you get the running back is a very short time span in the NFL.
That's my point. Not that Zeke's not great.
Yeah. It's are they overpaying him? And then look at Dak. I mean, let's be honest about Dak. He's had some good games, but he also really hadn't had a ton of weapons around him. I get that. Maybe hadn't had the best team, but Dak hasn't done it when it mattered the most. At the end, again, Tony Romo, why did he replace Tony Romo? Because Tony Romo couldn't get it done when it mattered the most. Well, it seems like this is more of a Cowboy problem than it is just a Tony Romo or Dak Prescott problem. It's like what they say when you're sitting at the table, if you don't realize who the dumbest one is, it's probably you.
Dang, that's why it always works out like that for me.
I know, me too. That's why I don't go to family dinners anymore.
Welcome to the party. All right, another one from Mike RFF Lifestyle. Blaine should go on a date and strictly talk about ants. That's what I do anyways.
Yes.
Ethan Williams says, #Ask Crane & Company. What are your thoughts on Stephen A. Smith saying the Cowboys should sign Kaepernick, but they won't because it's in the state of Texas?
What? Did he not watch the... Did he not hear about the workout that Kaepernick had? How about you go get somebody that has actually played football on...
Because it's in the state of Texas. These people want racial issues to be a problem more than they are.
Yeah,
I've never seen people so disappointed that race is not a main issue.
It is. I don't understand. Sad. Again, why would the Cowboys sign Kaepernick? What has he shown you?
It's in the
they said it was one of the worst workouts before the season that they have ever seen from a quarterback.
Golly.
One of the worst workouts.
What is it? Meanwhile, Dak Prescott's their starting quarterback. What is he talking about?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Dak Prescott's the starting quarterback for the Cowboys.
That's a great point.
He one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. I don't have time for this guy's nonsense.
Now, Stephen A., like, seriously, we can take this clip and send it to him out of the show. Stephen A., explain that. All right, they won't sign Colin Kaepernick because it's in the state of Texas, but they'll sign Dak Prescott? Please explain. I mean, just this race hustling is it's ridiculous at this point. You're inventing problems. Why do we invent problems? That's why, again, I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. It's like the floor of the jungle. The ants and beetles and snails, all of them get along better than I do. There's no snails calling the ants racist.
Who made all the big quarterback money in the offseason? Russell Wilson got paid. Kyler Murray got paid. Lamar Jackson's about to ink a big deal. Is Patrick Mahomes the first $500 million quarterback? $500 million?
Yeah, not enough, David.
Stephen A., you're rich.
Come on, man.
You're rich.
It's an agenda. That's all they care about. All right, Hudson says the Jerry Jones problem isn't going to be resolved till he's moved on from this world. And even though he might find a way to mess things up for them boys too.
Yeah, well, look, he's going to be coaching the Cowboys we'll see where it ends up. Let's go ahead to college football quick hitch, Dave.
Let's go to college football quick hitch. Get into some stories here. Talking about quarterbacks being out. Notre Dame quarterback Tyler Buchner out 4 months.
Yeah, obviously you hate to see the kid get hurt. He had a couple starts. Obviously didn't perform well. Ohio State, you can understand it. The defense is unbelievably talented. Marshall can understand it. I don't care if Stephon Gilmore's brother's out there playing at corner, snatching your cookies every time he gets a chance. Drew Pine, I will say, I think they're going to be able to throw the ball better. I think Pine is obviously a better passer than Buchner, but he cannot run as well. Buchner was really an elite runner with the ball, in my opinion. But the style of offense they've been running with the RPOs, a little bit of option mixed in there, you're going to have to change the game plan. I do think it may be a little more conducive to what Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, is used to doing at Notre Dame. Not that Pine is a bad athlete, but could this be something that actually, I don't want to say helps because you hate to see a kid get hurt, but could maybe putting a new guy in there, kind of a fresh start for Brees Brothers situation. But Notre Dame's got to play better as a complete team. You know, I took that line. I was like, you know what? Lock me in. Notre Dame -10 at home against a Cal team that's not very good, David. Mm-hmm. They're not very good.
Now it's 10.5.
Now it's 10.5.
And the over-under is at 41. How do you feel about that?
Well, is Iowa playing? No. I ended up, when I found out that Buchner got hurt, I was like, all right, scratch that right now. I hadn't officially put money on it because I want to see if that line would keep going down. It went up to 10.5. I would not be shocked if it went back down to 10. I want to kind of wait, and I may get the alternate line at 9.5. I hate getting -10. That's another reason I kind of pulled it back yesterday. But look, you look at that Notre Dame schedule. If they don't get a shot in the arm by Drew Pine playing, because they said Buchner could possibly miss 4 months. Like, this isn't a, 2 weeks from now, let's shoot him up with some cortisol and he'll be ready to go. Yeah. The Notre Dame's got problems all around, though.
Gotcha.
The under, I would lean under.
Yeah, I feel under on that too. You like the under in that?
What's it at?
41.
Go ahead and get it at 44, then yes.
You love it. You're so
big alt guy these days.
You are.
I haven't been taking sharps. I can get the alt.
But see, I don't want to take some at -175. Like, I'm not winning anything.
It's fine. It's America. Do what you want.
Yeah, it is America.
You're safe here. Hey,
all right. I know we're going to dive into our top 10 with Big Game Boomer, but UGA jumps to number 1. I mean,
new AP top 25. You had some movement. I think you have to say Georgia's the number 1 team in the country. If you just look at what they did to Oregon, obviously against Stanford, they called the dogs off early, pun intended, I guess. I think they are the most complete team right now, but I'll say what I said yesterday, and I'll say what I said on our Sunday recap after Saturday and before our NFL preview. Those that are writing off Bama, do not do it. We talked with Clint Lamb yesterday. You got the Harrell kid from Louisville who's coming off a foot injury, who's the deep threat. JoJo Earl has experience. They have talent in that room, but they need older guys, including Jermaine Burton, who I don't think played well at all against Texas, to step up, kind of take that mantle and bring these young guys along. But the minute you start sleeping on Bama with just the amount of talent that they have, we know Saban can coach. We know that coaching staff has a ton of experience. The minute you count Bama out is the minute that they become the most dangerous, because Nick Saban is one of the best in the world at using anything he can get for motivation, deflecting the rat poison, deflecting the praise, and using what he can for motivation. And when you mix motivation with talent and organization at the level Alabama has, you can never count them out. But to me, Georgia's the number 1 team in the country. Texas jumping to number 20. Look, I know you played good against Alabama, but you lost. Not only did you lose, but you're beat up as well. I'll say it again. This UTSA game is going to be really interesting this weekend. We talk about trap games. You're looking ahead. There's such thing as letdown games after a big game. You got UTSA coming in. It means a lot more to UTSA than it does to Texas. You're still kind of licking your wounds. Quinn Ewers literally licking his wound. Hudson Card is beat up too. You're going to be beat up front. You're probably going to have to take it a little bit easy on him early in the week, getting ready for the game. Guys, Texas on upset alert this weekend. Everybody's telling you how good of a job you did and how much you impressed. Maybe you relaxed a little bit, but also Kentucky making a move up, which I think they should. But I can't wait to drop this top 10 with Big Game Boomer because I think we are right on point.
Speaking of Kentucky running back Chris Rodriguez cleared to play October 1st.
Glad for Chris. Glad to get this handled and put this behind him. I thought Kentucky did a good job running the ball without him, but it gives them another weapon, which they need. Kentucky is not very explosive on offense. Florida made a lot of mistakes, which you got to give Kentucky credit. They capitalized on them. Outside of special teams, Kentucky played pretty clean. I thought Levis was pretty good decision-making throughout the game, but I am not sold on this Kentucky team being the second best team in the East yet, David. I still don't think they have enough weapons. I'm still going with Tennessee right now.
But you think the Tennessee-Kentucky game will be to decide now?
Where's that at?
Second?
Yeah.
I think it has to be in Kentucky.
Yeah, we need to look that up.
I feel like it's in Kentucky. Hold on. I'm on it.
Yeah, but Blaine, you picked Tennessee to be your second best team in the East. Your third best team in the SEC. I had them second in the East.
Ooh,
but I've got
that game is at Tennessee.
I'm telling you, Tennessee is Tennessee.
That game is at Tennessee, October 29th.
I'm telling you, Tennessee can win close games. Like, you're back to the Pitt game. They can win the close games because they're going to have close games because the SEC East is pretty good this year and somewhat level. But then you get to the Georgia and Bama games. Tennessee has a really good chance of losing 2 games this year.
Yeah,
I had them 5-3, I believe.
For Kentucky, 4-game stretch here at Ole Miss, host South Carolina, at Mississippi State. No, I'm sorry. Host Mississippi State at Tennessee.
At Tennessee, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a little bumpy road for Kentucky. I got to still see more of that offense.
Are we taking the SEC East over the SEC West right now? I mean, you look around.
Let's say Georgia.
I don't know.
Georgia.
How good? The question
Tennessee.
I think it comes down to is how good is Mississippi State?
Yep. How good is Mississippi State?
That's what
and I think they're good. I think.
Oh hell, I think this is one of the best teams Mike said. Like I said, the one projection I do not feel good about. Feel great about South Carolina. Feel great about A&M. Feel great about the rest of it. Looks like it's going to be a logjam in the West. Mississippi State is the one I feel like I may have undersold a little bit. But we love Will Rogers. We've talked about it.
Just with Vandy and Missouri, the East is so bottom.
Yeah, well, again, we got to see how Ole Miss is. Auburn right now, I think that there's a chance Auburn may have the worst personnel in the SEC West when you look at it. And I never thought I'd say that.
For sure. I mean, you go back and watch that San Jose State game. They're really, there's a couple guys on defense for sure for Auburn, but I didn't see, a really huge talent gap, to be honest.
I don't think it's as big as what it nearly should have been because San Jose State beat Portland State. Okay, not the Trailblazers, like Portland State, the football team, which I got respect for that program, played and coached against them. But they beat them by 4 at home.
Speaking about the SEC West, the last one I have for the quick hitch is you were saying Lane Kiffin said something about he's still adjusting to transfers.
Yeah. This is something I've talked about. And I've talked about it with Lincoln Riley and USC. I think sometimes people and fans get lost in we got these guys from the transfer portal. This guy who was a star here. This guy was a star there. This guy was a star in the middle. And they're like, oh, man, we're going to be so good. It's one thing to bring in talented players as a coach. It's a lot easier to call plays for talented players. We get that. The hardest thing about bringing these guys in, like a Jordan Addison, like a Travis Dye, like USC is doing, is being able to get those personalities to gel. I always say whether it's Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, the hardest part of their job is not scheming up. It isn't recruiting. It's managing those egos. Think about it. Think about some of the teams that Alabama's had with some of the players. Think about Georgia's team. Think about all the NFL players and egos in that locker room and all the stuff that happens that goes down in there with very talented players. Maybe I'm not getting the ball enough. Maybe I didn't play well last game. Maybe somebody's outshining me when this is supposed to be my year where the NFL scouts go, let's get him in the Senior Bowl. Let's see if he can be a first rounder. Managing all those egos sometimes is the hardest thing to do. And when you start bringing in people from different areas that don't know each other, that haven't played in the same system together, that, to me, is most of the deal. And we will find out, as this transfer portal, which we know is a free-for-all, we will find out which coaches are the best at being able to manage big personalities. It's like in the NFL. It's not, you got good players. It's who can manage those personalities, who can create that culture in the locker room where it's not about me, it's about we. And that's something I think Lane Kiffin was very honest about. I think Lane gets it and Lane understands it, but the best in the world I've seen do it right now, you've got to say it's Nick Saban, it's Ryan Day, and it's Kirby Smart. Those are the three best at doing it.
They know, because that locker room knows who the head boss is.
That's exactly right.
You put 120 alphas together, that locker room can get filled up.
David, not only that, but you're putting alphas together and they're getting paid. What do we say about NFL practices and college practices? Go watch both of them. You want to know the difference? At the NFL practice, there isn't a whole lot of yelling. There isn't a whole lot of getting on to people because they're making more money than you are. They're more important to the franchise than you are, and they know that. Now, I'm not saying the players act all crazy and go crazy with the coaches. There's a mutual respect there. But in college, it's can somewhat get that way now that, I mean, you got guys at NIL deals making $200,000, $300,000, $500,000. You got recruits coming out of high school or guys coming to the portal. Jordan Addison, $3.2 million. It's hard to go to Jordan Addison and say, hey, millionaire, listen to what I say. I'm going to run you after practice. I'm going to have to manage your personality with Mario Williams, who's another NFL player. Oh, I'm not getting enough touches. I'm not going to get the best NIL deal next year because I'm not getting enough touches. We don't talk enough about that. We talk about the X's and O's. We can talk about the combinations. We can talk about sail to the field or running cut coverage in 2x2. We can talk about fire zones and green dog in the backs. We can talk about zone blitzes, man beaters, stuff like that. But managing that locker room, managing those personalities are just as important. But, Blaine, let's get to the Booster Club and manage some personalities over there.
All right, Travis Elrod, what up, Travie? Hashtag Ask Crane & Company. Is it one of the hardest parts of the transfer portal, figuring out whether a prospect is a product of the system or the place that they are in?
Well, you got to trust your evaluation. You could say that about high school kids coming out, too. I mean, that's a problem where the system that they're in and maybe the players around them kind of elevate their game to a point where they look like they're something they're not. It's like on, what is it, Hall Pass, when they're in the club and the guy's like, oh, man, she's an 8, and then he does the hand thing. He's like, no, watch this. Like, she's really a 5. You have to trust your ability to evaluate, whether that's kids coming out of high school or that's people coming out of the portal. The thing about the portal that's easier is typically you are watching them play against better competition. They already know what college life is like, having to go to class, having to balance all those things, as opposed to high school where you may have a guy like Arch Manning who you think's really good, but he's playing against a bunch of children.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a different evaluation, but you still have to trust your evaluation. I always like guys that came from a competent system, because if you have guys that come from a competent system, they know what they're looking at. I'd much rather have a guy that knows what he's looking at than a guy that ran 2 different routes and was just unbelievably talented.
Yeah, my predicament coming out of high school was either go to the public school where they were winning state championships, right, but I wasn't going to get to throw the ball a lot, or go to the private school, throw it 35 to 40 times a game, but you're not going to play against great competition.
Exactly.
So when I came into Michigan, I was a little bit behind in terms of passing reps. You know, throwing 5 times a game is a big difference between throwing 35 times a game. But I was ahead in other aspects like leading a huddle, breaking a huddle, you know, managing, playing against good competition, understanding how important the weight room is too. Yes. Like, not that I was going to be the strongest guy, but at least understanding the importance of that as it relates to playing on the field.
Exactly. It's a wholesome approach. It's a real thing.
All right, cool story, guys. All right, Dylan Meadows, hashtag Ask Crane & Company. Should the Cowgirls trade for Jimmy G? Or is he too handsome from Jerry's liking?
Well, look, Jimmy G for the Cowboys, you couldn't paint a better picture for a brand name like that. Yes, you should. But again, if I'm the Niners, I just watched Trey Lance play. I know it was in the rain. He did a couple good things. But I'll say what I said before the year. I don't believe in Trey Lance. If I'm the Niners, am I willing to give up Jimmy Garoppolo after what I saw from Trey Lance? It would have to be a king's ransom. Jerry, you better back up to Shakey's Pizza Brinks truck and drop some calzones and garlic bread and a whole lot of gold bars off at the house if you want him, because I think he's ended up being the quarterback.
Who's that guy? He said he had Trey Lance as his dark horse for the MVP this year.
I don't know.
I can't remember who it was.
Who knows?
I just don't get it.
Who knows who said it? Was it Emmanuel Acho?
No. Emmanuel Acho, he'd have had a worse take than that.
Yeah.
Here's how you know we're living in the Matrix, because every time I've watched Jimmy Garoppolo throw the football, even since he was in New England, his throwing motion, I've said his throwing motion reminds me of Tony Romo so much that if you put him in a Cowboys jersey, I would just think that's Tony Romo. Now it might happen.
Yeah, again, I think it's so fascinating. Do the Niners want to give Jimmy G up after what they just saw? Booster Club, would you give Jimmy G up after what you just saw? Like I said, it would have to be an absolute blockbuster deal. Like, listen, I need Houston. I need the tax money from Austin. Like it would, again, we would Sheriff of Nottingham this whole thing.
All right, 2 things here. Dylan Meadows says, it's always a great day when Blaine is dressed like a professor. I'll take that.
You look like you're about to walk in a lab.
I actually love Professor, the basketball player. I go to random courts and like shave my head and start singing Eminem songs and like dribble the ball through my legs and just really, really getting the race spirit.
No, you don't do that.
All right, then we got a $4.99 donation from Lincoln Mertz. You'll love this one. Former special teams coordinator at Fort Scott Community College deserves an interview in Nebraska. He'd bring the Greyhound standards to the Huskers.
That's exactly right. Well, it's funny. I had a buddy of mine, a guy I coached with, a good friend of mine named Donnie Woods. They're like, hey, man, we need to let Donnie Woods be the head coach of Nebraska. I was like, I promise you I know who the special teams coordinator would be. We'd go hit somebody. I promise you that.
All right,
Pound up.
Colleen Houston, who's also a Notre Dame fan. So, she says Black Kirk Cousins gets injured, so trade for handsome Kirk Cousins to save the Cowboys.
That's exactly right, because you don't want clumsy Kirk Cousins, even though clumsy Kirk Cousins got the Giants a win here in Nashville, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But they said Brian Daboll is the most popular fat guy in New York since Biggie Smalls.
We're going to get to that. They
kind of look the same, too. All right, Texas Ed says, Blaine's outfit just ordered an IPA. I hate.
That's good.
I hate.
That's good.
IPA.
You look like, you know,
it's so bad. You can't look me in the eyes and tell me someone honestly likes IPAs.
You look like one of the guys that's trying to work his way up in the company from the show Billions.
I haven't seen that show. I heard it's good though.
It's like you're kind of like the intern for Dollar Bill. Like this. I get that vibe.
Nice. All right, Mike R. FF Lifestyle says Trey Lance is young and physical. Deebo Samuel will make him look a lot better in week 2.
Man, I remember when I was young and physical. Anyways, again, I know there was a ton of rain. It was a sloppy game. I mean, the Bears coming back and winning. The Bears offense looked absolutely anemic.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is like over there with an Etch-a-Sketch, like shaking it and showing everybody. He's like, I'm just going to run around.
Literally the entire game was Justin Fields like,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I would have paid money to hear what was going on in the helmet. Well, I hope Deebo helps him out more because I got Deebo on my fantasy team. I need more than 12 points from you. I can get 12 points from Adam Thielen. I need you to go off. And hey, Derrick Henry, look, I mean, I've been screwed that much since last time I went to Home Depot.
I'm not gonna
touchdowns.
I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't pass on Derrick Henry for Cooper Kupp, but I did. Derrick Henry's grown about 7th or 8th.
Well, let's let it go past week 1. I just want him to know that I know.
Okay, well, maybe I need both of you to know.
Because I know Derrick Henry watches the show.
He does.
Every day.
He does.
All right, speaking about watching the show, excited to get our good friend, Big Game Boomer on. It's time for another list. This week, it's our college football top 10 power ranking, official, more important than the AP top 10, any poll you're going to see. I feel like we got it right. Boomer, what's up, man?
What's happening, y'all? How y'all doing?
Doing good. Another day, another dollar. We're already in week 3 of the college football season. I need it to slow down. It's like my puppy.
Going by too fast.
It's growing way too fast.
Really getting big?
We need to stop. Yeah, she's like doubled in size. Like it's like a Pokemon situation because she's evolving into the second.
That's
second
one. You need to see it right in front of you.
Yeah, I'm ready to see what power she has.
Start calling you Ash.
Pokemon's changed sizes.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We're not getting into this.
Okay.
Cone, we're not getting into this right now.
Anyway.
Yeah. Boomer. All right. So what was your kind of biggest takeaway from last weekend? I mean, obviously you had Bama in the fist fight with Texas. The Sun Belt absolutely ran roughshod. We're very excited. We got Georgia Southern head coach Clay Helton coming on here this week. Excited to talk about that. And game day is going to Boone this Saturday for a little App State at home versus Troy. What were kind of some of your biggest takeaways this weekend?
Well, you know what? This Saturday, it kind of felt good to me because all off season I was preaching that Notre Dame and Texas A&M are overrated. And week 2, here we are. They both lose to 2 schools in the Sun Belt. So it was great for me to see it, to see them lose. I mean, I'm honestly not surprised. Another thing, West Virginia, those fans have been just giving me crap all off season because I've been saying that they're not any good. And look, they lose to Kansas. So I know I'm probably wrong way more than I am right, but these are some of the predictions that came true. So it feels good to see those schools lose.
Yeah, it always feels good to get predictions right. Like, I don't know that Haynes King shouldn't be the starting quarterback at A&M or that South Carolina is probably going 2-6 in the SEC, but we'll save that for another day. Anyway, Boomer, we've got your top 10 college football power rankings up right now. Go ahead and go through those, explain them to us, and let's watch the fires that get started on the outside here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Georgia is the undisputed number one here. I think everyone agrees on that. 2, I've got Ohio State at 2 this week, just because Alabama, that may have been the sloppiest game I've seen Alabama play in Nick Saban's career at Bama. I mean, 100 yards and penalty yards. I mean, they've got some receiver issues there. So I've got Bama at 3. Arkansas, I've got Arkansas at 4. I know they've got some problems in the secondary, but I can't think of a team that's played a tougher schedule and has gone 2-0 so far this season. I think Florida has probably played maybe the toughest schedule, but they lost to Kentucky. So I've got the Hogs at 4. And then Cone probably won't like this. I've got Michigan State.
We're going to talk about it.
Sparty at 5. I like what Mel Tucker's doing. Peyton Thorne needs to clean it up a little bit, but it's hard to see. They haven't really played anyone yet. And then 6, right behind Big Brother, I've got Michigan at 6. And
soundboard here.
They've played. I mean, they haven't played anybody. They've played high school teams. So, but they're good.
You just said that about Michigan State, though.
McCarthy it looked good against Hawaii, but I mean, I think one of us could go out there and sling it against Hawaii. They're that bad, so we won't know anything about them. But they are talented. I think their secondary will get tested here in a couple of weeks. BYU was maybe the most impressive team. Who I have at 7. I mean, they look great against Baylor. Jaron Hall looks like an NFL quarterback. That defense absolutely suffocated Baylor's offense, which we all thought was going to be better with Shapen at quarterback. And then USC, I mean, it looks like OU's offense basically in Southern California. I mean, it looks like they're picking right up where they left off with Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison. And then NC State, I know they look bad against East Carolina, but I've got them at 9. I'm still sticking with them. They're my college football playoff team. They did a good test this week against Texas Tech. And then Tennessee coming in at 10, who, big win against a good Pitt team. So I don't think they can stop the run or really stop anybody on offense, defense. But that offense is going to put up points, and it's going to be tough to stop them.
Yeah, and again, look, I love where you have Arkansas as the guy that picked them as the 3rd best team in the SEC. I will tip my cap and shake your hand and say, have a good day, sir. A couple questions. Ohio State, are you worried a little bit after the way that Notre Dame looked against Marshall, that maybe that was a little bit of fool's gold with Ohio State, even though Alabama, I know you want that code. I know Alabama didn't look great against Texas. How did you kind of differentiate those two to put Ohio State 2 and Bama 3?
I feel like, Marcus Freeman is a first-time head coach. So I feel like it was more of I think Notre Dame is still talented. I think their defense is still solid. I think it's one of those cases where they spent all offseason getting ready for that Ohio State game. And then, boom, they lose. And it's a little bit of a letdown. You got Marshall the next week, and they just probably did not put as much preparation into it as they did for Ohio State. And that's coaching. Marcus Freeman's got to learn to get your players ready every week the same way that you would when you play in Ohio State, because that was Marshall's Super Bowl, and they had that game circled on their calendar, and they took advantage of it. So I think Notre Dame is they're still a good team, but I mean, Ohio State, I mean, they played Arkansas State, but the offense really seemed like it started clicking again. Stroud was throwing up some gaudy numbers, with Marvin Harrison. So I still feel good about Ohio State.
Yeah. Coney, what you got?
Well, I can feel the Michigan fans in the chat right now from over there where Blaine's sitting. I know what they want from me. They want me to get aggressive here, but I'm going to thank you, Boomer. Thank you for putting Michigan behind State and that Ohio team from Columbus, because, all I've been hearing is how great Michigan is. We're back. J.J. McCarthy's going to win 3 Heisman trophies over his tenure. We need that little chip on our shoulder, and let's go win the Big Ten. So I appreciate that. But Michigan State is going to Washington this week, and right now I am looking at Washington -3 here on the spread. How are you feeling about that game?
That's going to be an interesting game because, I mean, Washington, if you've watched them, Kalen DeBoer and with Michael Penix, they can sling it around and they can score points, which is crazy after watching Washington last season. So it's definitely going to test that secondary and see if it's really improved. So I can't wait for that. I think that's probably one of the best games this weekend.
No doubt.
And I mean, they could easily lose that game if the secondary is not improved because Washington will put up points.
And you've been calling that.
I've been saying it since the offseason. Washington's going 7-2 in the Pac-12, and they're beating Michigan State. I was screaming from the
Jake's been calling that one for a while. I wasn't as sold on that, but I'll tell you what, with what Washington's putting together, shout out to my buddy Nick Sheridan over there. I really like it. Let's go to the Sooners here. I don't think you didn't have Oklahoma in your top 10.
Oklahoma or Clemson, Boomer.
You didn't? Okay, I'll let one of y'all get to Clemson. I'll go to Oklahoma. You didn't have Oklahoma in your top 10. I think nationally they're 6. We have them at 9. They have Nebraska this week. Now, do you think there's a situation where maybe coming off the Scott Frost firing, Cornhuskers could maybe circle the wagons? And if Oklahoma wins that game, what do they have to do to climb into your top 10?
I mean, I think they need to win that game convincingly. It's Brent Venables. I was on a Nebraska podcast last night talking about this game, and it's going to be an interesting game. I don't think OU's just going to walk into Lincoln and blow out a Scott Frost-less Nebraska team. I think the spread's like 11 or 13 points. Like I said, Brent Venables' first road game, going in playing against a crowd with 90,000 people. They're going to be kind of relieved and I think more fired up now that Frost is gone. This will probably be a one-score game going into the fourth quarter. If you watched OU play Kent State on Saturday night, they did not look that impressive. Really struggled on third down. I mean, it was a one-score game going into the first half. So I need to see more from OU on the offensive side of the football before I can put them in the top 10.
Yep, it's 11 right now.
It's 11 right now.
11,
all right, Blaine, we're going to get to the Booster Club here in a second. Let's go ahead and hit our top 10. We got Georgia at number 1. All right, I think we can all agree there.
Correct.
Shake hands, look everybody in the eyes. Let's all be friends. Bama at number 2. Still have them there. Like I said, don't write them off yet. People are going to be bashing them all week.
They won.
That's why I literally took Bama minus 49 against Monroe. I think it's going to be a murder so bad Agatha Christie's going to write a book about it. Ohio State 3, Michigan 4. Man, those top 4, man.
I haven't seen those top.
I don't know about Michigan.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows about Michigan yet 100%, but we know what they did last year. I think you got to give them a little bit of credit for what they've been able to create.
Here's my one thing on Michigan. Mel Tucker owns Jim Harbaugh, and until I am proven wrong, that is Michigan State is better than Michigan.
Well, look, be that as it may, Michigan lost to Michigan State last year and still won the Big Ten and made the playoff. So that could continue, and they could still be a top 15.
I bet Michigan walks Michigan State this year. Walks.
I like
you think that was?
We'll
where do they play? Where do they
You have more
Kenneth
confidence.
Walker ain't there to save you.
You have more confidence than I do.
Is it in the big house?
Yes.
It's in the big house?
Yep.
Okay, hey, let's bring our graphic back up. All right, we got Clemson 5, Cade Klubnik. It's just a matter of time. I had somebody on our YouTube channel comment, said, I don't think you're giving DJ you enough love.
For what?
For what? Like, again, what have you shown me?
Did you say you're right?
Yeah.
I'm not?
Yeah, well, I won't. Like, you want me to look in your face and lie to you? I mean, come on. You had parents. We had BYU at number 6. So we're kind of similar there. To me, them beating Baylor, I know it was at home, but them beating Baylor without Romney or Pico Nakua shows you that Baylor can win in multiple ways, and getting those guys back with Jaron Hall, with Christopher Brooks at running back. But I love how physical they are up front. BYU typically stayed with like some monster at defensive end.
They looked athletic.
6'7", 260, and everybody else was just kind of decent looking. They look fast to me, as fast as I've seen them and as deep as I've seen them. And like you said, Jaron Hall can create, he can improvise, he can keep the play going.
Their schedule down the road, they got Notre Dame, Arkansas.
Notre Dame's looking a little bit different.
Go to Oregon this weekend.
Weekend.
Yeah, which they're a dog, 3.5-point dog, 4-point dog, something like that. USC number 7. Listen, to me, USC right now is like a brand new Ferrari with a nice paint job, Merlin engine, good interior, but the tires are flat because they don't have the guys up front to be able to win a national championship. Not that they couldn't go undefeated in the Pac-12 or have a big year, but once they get there and you see the Bamas or the Georgias or the Ohio States or the Michigans or the Clemsons, I don't think they're good enough up front on either side of the ball. Arkansas number 8. Again, like you said, there's some questions in their secondary, but what KJ Jefferson's been able to do, they've shown the ability to be explosive. They had that big win against an underrated Cincinnati team, in my opinion, Cone. Game 1, were able to beat South Carolina at home. Game 2, OU number 9 and Tennessee number 10. Blaine, tell everybody why we put Tennessee 10 and not Kentucky 10. Because we got Kentucky 11.
Yep.
I mean, we're splitting hairs. I just think, did we all come to the consensus that Kentucky's offense is kind of overrated a little bit?
Well, not that it's overrated, but we feel like Tennessee could score enough points that
Kentucky could keep.
Exactly, and it's tough to get a pass rush on Tennessee because it's Downset Hut, balls out. Here we go, line up. Downset Hut, balls out. Here we go, Downset Hut, line up, inside zone, just stuff like that. So I don't think there's a huge gap. I think this is where the system a little bit, and I feel like Tennessee has a few more weapons outside with Brew McCoy and Cedric Tillman and guys like that. Boomer, Tennessee or Kentucky? I know you had Tennessee number 10 as well. How close do you think Tennessee and Kentucky are?
I mean, I think they're neck and neck with each other. I think that Tennessee's offense is better. And, Kentucky looked great against Florida, but I think we all overreacted on Florida a little bit. I think they're still middle of the road SEC East team. But I mean, Will Levis looked good. I'm really concerned about them being able to run the football. I don't know how long Chris Rodriguez is going to be out.
He's back this week.
He's back this week. Okay.
Yep.
They lost some starters on the offensive line. And is Tavion Robinson, is he going to step up and be the next Wan'Dale Robinson? That's my biggest question mark. We've seen it. I mean, he's looked good so far. But when they get into that meat of the schedule, that's where I'm really interested to see if he can replace Robinson.
Yeah, can they be explosive enough? Can the offense be brought to you by Pepto-Bismol? Do you have enough guys out there to do it?
Let me ask you this: with Sam Hartman coming back to Wake Forest, what will Wake Forest have to do to really get in the top?
When Clemson at home,
when they beat Clemson at home, I mean, you really got to start looking at it because I know Vanderbilt. This still isn't your typical Vanderbilt team. They've got some athletes running around. Mike Wright can present some problems, not necessarily throwing the ball to a certain extent, but his ability to run, his ability to hurt you on third down with his legs and keep drives alive, and be able to throw the intermediate pass game as well. Them handling business there with Sam coming back in his first game. He obviously didn't miss a beat. If they beat Clemson at home, which they have a chance to now that Sam Hartman's a quarterback, we really have to start looking at Wake Forest as a top 10 team because if you look at their schedule, there's a chance they could run through the ACC.
Yeah, and let's see. Oh, they do have. Oh, I'm trying to see where
they play Miami.
I'm trying to see. Wake goes to NC State.
They go to NC State. There you go. You beat Clemson and NC State. I mean, we again at the end of the day, real recognize real, right?
Yeah, I believe so. All right, question here from Charles Moore. What's up, Charles? #AskBoomer. Is the UT defense strategy against Bama a blueprint for other teams like Arkansas, Tennessee, and Georgia?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I mean, what they did, they shut down Bama's receivers. To me, it just seems like Bama had a letdown more than it was Texas in their preparation. I don't know, man. I was just shocked to see Bama struggle that much. I mean, if it wasn't for Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy guy, taking them down to the end of the game, they lose that game. So I think it was more Bama being unprepared than Texas and their scheme.
I think it was a combination. I think Sarkisian still game planned them really well, and Gary Patterson coming in, clearly that added an element. But just like we talked about with Rusty Mansell last week, for Texas to win or even keep it close the way they did, it had to be a combination of things. And certainly Alabama had a letdown, but I think Texas had a good game plan as well.
Well, we talked about this yesterday. The way Gary Patterson was manipulating the blitz, he was giving you very similar looks pre-snap, but they were doing different things at the snap. It was confusing that offensive line, even confused Bryce Young a little bit. If you looked at what he was checking up front, that's why I think he was holding that ball so long, because he wasn't expecting that interior pressure, and he's used to guys getting open quickly. But Texas did a really good job of showing blitz, getting exotic with the blitzes out of similar sets, and then showing blitz and not blitzing, because they got to one point where Texas, who tackled as well as I've ever seen him tackle, hit as physical as I've ever seen him play, Texas wasn't worried about getting beat deep. And when you're not worried about getting beat deep, you can see that's why the Bama run game really didn't have a chance to get going. Jahmyr Gibbs was better catching the ball out of the backfield, and McClellan busted that outside zone for about 80 yards that one play because the linebacker buried himself and the safety was nowhere to be found. But outside of that, Texas mixed it up enough, but I do agree with you guys. It's a combination.
Well, Bama really doesn't have that guy who can take the top off.
Well, they do. He's hurt. Tyler Harrell.
Yeah, okay, but still, right now, you see in that game, they don't have the J-Mos, right? They don't have the Jerry Judys like we watched last night. It's just weird seeing that Bama team, especially at the receiver position, not having that guy you can hit the big shot on, because they have that guy every year. I can't remember a year that they didn't have a guy. I mean, Henry Ruggs boom, can take it. You go to Judy. You go to J-Mo last year. Hell, even Mechie can almost take
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. So, like, it's just weird seeing, like, Bama's offense not being explosive. I haven't seen that in a long time. All right, Steve the Pirate, hashtag Ask Boomer. Do we see there being... yeah, exactly. What are we going to do with all this buried treasure? Do we see there being any chance for Penn State to end up number 2 in the Big Ten East? Don't think they're beating Ohio State, but maybe Michigan or Michigan State.
He said Penn State?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean... I'm not going to lie. I was impressed with them when they played Purdue. I mean, Sean Clifford made some mistakes, but when the game came down to the line, I mean, he had that great game-winning touchdown drive. This week, we're going to find out a lot about Penn State when they go down to get to the Plains and play Auburn. I mean, their secondary, maybe one of the best secondaries in the country with Joey Porter Jr. And some of those other guys. So I've been impressed with Penn State so far. And if they beat Auburn this weekend, which I think they will, then I'm going to even be higher on them.
I'll say this. I think the Aller kid is better than Sean Clifford.
You think so?
I'm telling you, that kid's got a chance to be really good.
Y'all don't like Sean Clifford.
When he came in, when he's just too inconsistent to me. We'll see it early in the season.
Sean Clifford's as old as us.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, he's older. Like, he's got a 401k, and, like, he's already starting to get stuff from the AARP. I think he coached at Penn State for a couple of years, too. But Aller, I'm telling you guys, this kid has a chance. He came in against Purdue, and it was just like...
He's a tree.
He's a tree. He's a redwood for sure. Yeah. But he's got an absolute hand cannon, and came in, didn't miss a beat. Like, made some pretty good throws, overthrew one. It was a little bit kind of muddy. The coverage was a little bit muddy. But I'm to the future for Penn State at quarterback. That kid, NFL player.
Trust me, I had a Purdue in that game, and no one wants to see anybody get hurt.
Oh, I did too.
Nobody wants to see anybody go out, but Sean Clifford went out. I was like, oh, darn.
Run the ball at the end of the game.
You know, just like Thor came out.
Run the ball.
Started throwing dig routes.
They send in Groot, who's just absolutely just throwing, missiles across the field. But Boomer, man, really appreciate you, my friend. It's always great stuff. We're going to make sure we tag you in this and see, let people pick which one they agree with more. Tell everybody where they can find your work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Appreciate y'all for having me on. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Big Game Boomer on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube. We've got a little podcast going on. Nothing daily like what you guys got going on, but still fun stuff. So
for sure.
Appreciate y'all for having me on. And I can't believe we're in week 3. It flies by so fast.
Yeah. I know. They grow up so fast. 2022 football season. You got to take a picture, and thanks for the memories. Appreciate it, Boom.
Thanks
for
the
y'all.
Take
it easy.
All right, but let's go to the Booster Club for a couple questions.
Cone's high water pants.
There he is.
There he is. Look at that.
Handles out there.
Yeah.
You got more handles than Kyrie right now.
You think
a lot
so?
of ankles today, boys.
Look,
a lot of ankles.
Your ankles.
I can't wait to get Matt Walsh's
right
chat
there.
and someone say something about it. He says, I can't say Henry Ruggs. You get canceled. Well, I don't know. Are we to that point now?
I mean, he did play. Like, that's a real thing. Like, Henry Ruggs did play at Bama and in the NFL. He made a horrible mistake, and he's paying for it.
Dylan Meadows is screaming in the chat that Drew Aller does need to start.
Yeah, Drew Aller. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm more scared of Drew Aller than Sean Clifford. Because at some point, Sean Clifford's going to do something stupid. And I'm not saying that Aller won't because he's young. But Aller can make throws that Sean Clifford can't. I watched him throw a hole shot against cover 2 that I thought was going to not, like Mr. Potato Head the hands off the receiver.
Really?
I mean, and it's one thing to be able to throw at 100 miles per hour. That's great. But I'm watching him throw the lollipop. I'm watching him put touch-on passes. I'm watching him throw fades. Like, this kid, he's a tree, like Blaine said, which helps. As you know, being a tree, Cone, 6'7".
I'm not into Planet Earth documentaries.
No, you got 2 branches hanging off the side of you. Those are your arms. You're 100% a tree.
All right, we got a question from Iron Man Football.
Yeah.
Hashtag Ask Crane and Company. Can KJ Jefferson save the Cowboys when they draft him next year?
Ooh.
Wow.
Jerry's probably looking at him, too. Arkansas grad.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing with guys like KJ. I don't know how great of an NFL quarterback KJ is going to be because his biggest asset is lowering his shoulder and being able to run over guys to get the first down. Not that he's not a good thrower. Y'all know me. I've been on the KJ Jefferson at Arkansas train. I think he's going to get invited to New York. Not win the Heisman, but get invited. I don't know how good of an NFL quarterback KJ Jefferson's going to be because I don't think his throwing game translates enough right now to the NFL. And once you get to that league, you're not just out there big boying people, save, Cam Newton and a couple guys like that. And Cam Newton's not in the league anymore. One of the reasons, because he tried to big boy everybody. The longevity doesn't work like that. In the NFL, it doesn't work like that. Even guys like Josh Allen, you'll see him stiff arm somebody, you'll see him run somebody over, but they are very smart about when they use their body and how they use their body, and Josh Allen is an elite thrower of the football.
I agree. Even a lot of KJ's success through the air is set up by what? Running Q power,
exactly right.
Keeping you on schedule, keeping you in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, something like that. You're not going to be able to do that as well in the NFL. There's only so many Cam Newtons. I think maybe even an Anthony Richardson type might translate better to the NFL.
I'm with you. And I love KJ Jefferson.
I do too.
I don't want this to be, I'm knocking KJ Jefferson. I just don't think, I would much rather have Will Rogers. I would rather take a flyer on Anthony Richardson, even though he's, rawer than eggs that haven't been cooked. But I think KJ is going to be one of the greatest Arkansas quarterbacks when it's all said and done, and he's such a great fit for Sam Pittman and that offense. And Kendall Briles, the OC there, having a weapon like that is just huge.
Hold on one second. I'm typing something in.
Will Rogers is going to be a good one, man.
Dude, that Mississippi State
Levis is the one. I still don't know about Levis in the NFL.
I know. I'm not.
He's a great college quarterback.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He could take that next step. I mean, is it like a Justin Herbert type thing, or is it,
again,
you can't beat everybody in the run game?
Justin's one of those guys. I mean, he had a big arm. He did have touch, but I mean, he has just gotten so much better. I don't know if Levis has that ceiling.
I don't know
as a thrower.
All right, Her Dizzle. Hashtag Ask Crane and Kale. What's up, Her Dizzle? When listening to Trav Alberts say that the first thing he looks for in a coach is character, does that rule out Hugh Freeze for you? And if so, who's your next recommendation?
I mean, again, character. Okay, well, guess what? You're not directing a movie. This isn't all about just the characters, man. You got to find somebody that's a winner in there. Look, you want to hire a good guy. Okay, I get it. There's good guys that have made mistakes. Okay, there are good guys that have made mistakes. Sure. So you know what? Who's behind Hugh Freeze that could actually help you? So that means Urban Meyer's out. Okay, that means Hugh Freeze is out. And I wasn't saying I thought they were going to hire Hugh Freeze yesterday. I said they should hire Hugh Freeze. Then you look around, you get Gary Patterson or Matt Campbell. Great, good.
But Deion Sanders.
Yeah, they're not hiring. Deion's not going to Nebraska. He's smarter than that. But what's Matt Campbell going to go in there and do? Oh, good, 7-5. Oh, you finally went 8-4 one time in 4 years? Matt Campbell's won one Fiesta Bowl. I know Iowa State isn't the mecca of college football, but let's stop pretending like Matt Campbell is this elite coach. To me, probably Matt Rule. It would be a different Matt. It'd be Matt Rule, because I don't know if he survives the Panthers after what happened against Cleveland week 1 and the trajectory of their season, even though we got some pretty big Baker Mayfield fans, not Kirk Cousins. This is a story for another day.
I don't know why you keep bringing that up.
Well, I'm going to bring that up.
At no point did I say Baker Mayfield was better than Kirk Cousins. Like, you're living in this illusion I say Baker. Let's go back to ranking the quarterbacks. Jake, where did I rank Kirk Cousins?
I don't know. Hold
11th.
on.
Where did I say Baker Mayfield was? I would say 15 to 20.
I doesn't
I don't know what alternate universe.
Didn't you say you take Baker Mayfield?
I don't know what alternate universe. You stay on this Baker Kirk Cousins thing, and I don't know why.
Because
we can go back to it. We can pull up the tape. At no point did I say Baker was better than Kirk Cousins. I put Kirk at 11 and 12. And I said Baker was 15 to 20.
What conversation then did we have about Baker?
What is going on? I feel like I feel like this is deeper for you. We can sit here and talk about it. That's fine. You're safe.
You can filibuster all you want.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
At no point did I say I put Kirk at 11. Like, it was the top 10 rankings. Is that what it was? We were ranking top 10 quarterbacks.
You laughed at me when I said Kirk Cousins I thought was possibly a top 10 quarterback, and you put
I have it 12. 11 and 12. I literally said that on the show.
Did you say Kirk Cousins is mid?
I had Dak and Kyler.
Did you say Kirk Cousins is mid?
Yes.
Yeah, at mid at the 11th best quarterback in the NFL?
Mediocre.
Yeah, okay.
We're talking about top 10. It's mediocre.
Oh,
he should be in the top 10. You know why?
We need a rubric.
In the top 10 because he probably has the best receiver in the NFL. One of the best running backs in the NFL. Adam Thielen, a great O-line, had a great defense. I feel like Kirk Cousins should have done more with the pieces he has around him.
Well, we're going to see this year.
We're going to see every year. It's not new pieces.
Yeah, he does have new pieces. He's got the best pieces, like a good puzzle.
What new pieces?
Adam Thielen's had the best.
That's not a new piece.
Can I finish talking? Or you just it's like
I'm watching Congress.
For like you just don't be quiet. Years. You just filibuster the whole time. You're making me want to get rid of the filibuster.
You just looked me in the eyes and said, Adam Thielen's a new piece.
Adam Thielen hasn't had not a new piece. He's like a car that just got redone. He's had the best. That's the reason I drafted him.
It's a new car, Blaine.
It's a new car. And they have added pieces to the defense, too. So there. It's a full-throated approach.
Thanks, Booster Club.
Anyways, if you want to watch, the rest of this, remember you can listen if you say here. Head over to Daily Wire Plus, become a member, or listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, share it with all your friends. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be right back with some rapid fire. Pew, 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 pew. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, appreciate you guys coming back and joining us. If you're listening on YouTube as well, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. But Cone, it's time for rapid fire. And if we get rapid, we might as well be in Grand Rapids because it goes fast and it goes fiery. It's not even Flamin' Dragon Friday.
Grand Rapids, nice.
Thank you.
Here we go. Broncos, Seahawks, last night. Broncos made the right decision to go for the field goal attempt at the end of the game. Punter go. I'm stitching it to punter go just because I want to kick.
Come on, Dave. Keep on his toes.
Here.
I'm punting. I'm going for the touchdown there. Because again, look at the way. I know you held on to 17 points, but in that environment, you have to have some feel. Russell Wilson coming back to Seattle. You're going to put it back on one possession. I'm going to let Russell see if we can score the touchdown to get the lead because I don't trust getting the ball back with the way the Seahawks offense has kind of operated, and better yet, the way my defense really had played. You've had busted coverages. You got better in the second half. I get that. You ended up shutting them out, okay, in the second half, but you also only scored 3 points in the second half. Now, as somebody who had the under, I was super jacked and tan about it. Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll go to the bank with that. But I feel like if you watch the difference between coaches, and I get you thinking, all right, well, Russell Wilson's an experienced quarterback. We've got pieces. We get the ball back. We've got a great kicker in Brandon McManus. And look, you know, I know he missed a 64-yarder at the end, but guys, 64 yards, you don't want to put all your eggs in the 64-yard field goal basket. I think they should have went for it, just like Brian Daboll went for 2 in the Giants. Sometimes you got to be aggressive. Sometimes you got to go snatch it. You had a veteran quarterback, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams. You got pieces at tight end. Beck looked fantastic last night at tight end. He was running through guys like Epcack. So when I look at the decision-making, I can see what you were thinking, but I'd like a little more aggression. And at the end of the day, you left it in the Seahawks' hands pretty much to put yourself in that position where you had to kick that long field goal. You should have just gone for it, seen if you could have got closer. I didn't like the call. 64 yards, I know it's the NFL, but if his name isn't Justin Tucker, I don't trust it.
You agree with our director, Trey, then. He was not happy with it.
No, I agree with Trey.
I don't mind the call. I don't mind. Look, the offense, if they had gone for it on 4th and 5 with Russell Wilson being back in Seattle, I can get behind it and say, look, put it in the quarterback's hand. You just paid all this money and go get it. But I honestly do not mind this call here because they hadn't done much offensively. You've had your chances throughout the game. You've had your chances to score more than 16 points in the game. They didn't do it. I feel like Brandon McManus makes 64-yard field goals more often than he misses them. This one he missed. You gave yourself a chance to win. Came up short.
I think you signed Russell Wilson for a reason.
That's what I'm saying. You're paying this man.
You gave him all that money to go get you a 4th and 5, and I thought they managed the clock terribly down the stretch.
Yeah, they couldn't get plays in.
You called that, yeah, I know. You called that timeout way earlier.
That's what I'm saying. So what makes you feel good about them on offense on 4th and 5? It's not 4th and inch.
Because it's Russell Wilson.
Okay, well, he had the whole game, though.
Well, you can't fumble twice in the red zone. I mean, I get it. But Russell Wilson didn't fumble, but you paid that man his money. You paid that guy. You put the trust in him. Make him go out and get it. If not, that's fine. We'll tip our cap. We'll go home. But a 64-yard field goal might be the NFL, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that. I don't have a lot of faith in that, but I do have a lot more faith in Russell Wilson. Or a play that we can go get 4th and 5. You call that timeout early. You see what you want to see. You have the play. You get in the huddle. Russell, call it out. Boom, let's go.
Yeah, well, and two, we got to think about it. I know there wasn't a lot of time left. But
30 seconds.
There was 30 seconds, but you make that field goal, you're still only up 2. So now you give the Seahawks a chance where you're really 2 plays after the kickoff from getting into field goal range. And Jason Myers can bang it now. I mean, he can bang it. I know he had an off year a couple years ago, but Jason Myers can get it there. I felt like you could have went down. If you got that first down, you get Brandon McManus a lot closer, obviously, and you're able to run that clock spike it with 4 seconds left. We kick the field goal. We either make it and win or we miss it and lose. You don't give the Seahawks a chance. But again, I don't know if there's a right answer here, Cone.
Yeah.
I know you ended up losing the game. You missed the field goal. So I guess you could say, well, you lost it that way. You could have won it the other way. I don't think it's like this coach is an idiot or this was an absolute stupid decision.
Yeah.
I would have just gone for it. You're paying Russell the money. Go get me the first down. Let's get you on the move. Maybe find a tight end, cut it up. Let's go get 5.5 and spike it.
Let's talk about other coaches around the NFL. Brian Daboll with a great win on Sunday, came down here to Nashville and said, I'm taking that.
Shocked.
The Giants found their coach. I mean, is he going to lead them to a Super Bowl? Or
you know what? I want to give credit to Brian Daboll, but I also want to give some credit to Daniel Jones. I thought Daniel Jones had one of his best games. Do I think he's a guy that's going to be the future for the Giants? No. There's a reason they didn't pick up the 5th option. But I got a lot of respect because when Daniel Jones threw that pick in the end zone late in the game, Brian Daboll went over there and chewed him up. You know what Daniel Jones did? Goes right back out on the field, leads them basically on a game-winning drive, has really 2 good drives, but leads them on a game-winning drive, kept the ball on the power. I don't think they called that. I don't think it was a quarterback keep. It was 4th and what? Like one, somewhere around there. You run the power, you keep it yourself, you get there, you get the job done, you make the throws at the end, you go for the 2-point conversion, you make the play at the end. It was a ballsy call by Brian Daboll, but Daniel Jones earned a lot of respect from me. Do I think he's a good player? No, but he's got guts. He showed you he's got guts, and when Brian Daboll came over there and challenged him, he fired right back, went out in the field and said, all right, maybe that's the best thing that could have happened to him. Maybe Daniel Jones just one of those guys you got to piss off because he looks, reserved, real kind of, vanilla ice cream. I'm going to help the old lady paint the fence. I'm going to help you put the box in your car. Mr. Johnson, my neighbor, which is all that's great. But you haven't seen him really get fired up. I went to Duke. Let's talk about feelings and existential threats and stuff like that. But Daniel Jones, when it came down to it, when he got pissed off, played his best. And there's something about it. Maybe it needs to be one of those situations where Brian Daboll slaps him before every game or goes up and says something about his mother. I don't know. Whatever works. But that's a huge win. But if you're the Titans, especially after the AFC South, nobody won a game in the AFC South and 2 of the teams played each other. That tie that we saw between the Texans and the Colts, that opened the door for Tennessee, and you didn't walk through it at all.
Well, I mean, if you're the Giants right now, I know Daniel Jones played good, but you have to be excited of the way they played up front on offense.
Saquon.
And Saquon Barkley is looking like Saquon Barkley was supposed to look this entire time he's been in the NFL. The kid looks healthy, and a healthy Saquon Barkley is a dangerous offense. I don't give a crap if Daniel Jones is quarterback or not. You have Kadarius Toney, who's an absolute athlete. I'm pretty sure he only played like 13 plays or something like that. So really, once he gets out there and gets comfortable, I mean, yeah, the Giants can only go so far with Daniel Jones at the helm, but you have pieces, man.
Yeah.
Defense didn't play bad. Saquon Barkley's a big piece. I mean, Kadarius Toney's a big piece. The offensive line is starting to look good. So I think the Giants can win some games a lot of people weren't expecting them to win this year.
Yeah, I wonder what the over-under on the season win total was for the Giants. I know we talked about it before. What do you think it was? 5?
That's 5.
Five somewhere around there?
4.5.
That sounds right to me. But no, huge win for them. Tennessee and Mike Vrabel, y'all need to
it was 7.
Figure it out.
Sorry.
7
for the Giants?
The Gigantes.
Something we didn't.
We'll see.
7.
How about that?
Best team in New York right now.
All right. The LA Dodgers, bring it up. The LA Dodgers did their best Magic Mike impression here. And look, I tweeted at the Braves. I said, hey, there you go. There's your opponent right there. Come playoff time. Yeah. Losing to this team will henceforth be unacceptable for the Braves. I'll let the other fans of teams talk about their own.
Yeah, I'm already uncomfortable looking at this. If you're in audio, listen, I get what you guys are trying to do. Freddie Freeman, you left Atlanta for this. You did this. I hope you're happy. I hope it's a lot of fun, a lot of hugs and kisses and stuff like that. And listen, I like to have a good time. It's funny.
I'll take no Freddie slander on this show.
But, Channing Tatum, Alabama boy, shout out Channing, almost as good of a dancer as me. But, yeah, I'm uncomfortable with this. I'm just uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't want to see this morning. I didn't expect to see, and it's 4 baseball players for the Dodgers with their shirt off looking at me with sunglasses on.
This wasn't the only one. It was like a whole campaign.
Yeah, it was like almost like a calendar shoot. But how funny was it that the Dodgers thought they had clinched a playoff berth, and Major League Baseball told them, like, yeah, you guys clinched. I mean, they had like the sparkling wine toast. Everybody's like going crazy in the locker room. We did it. And then Major League Baseball was like, yeah, Ron screwed up. the calculation. There's still a way y'all cannot make the playoffs if the Padres go undefeated and the Brewers read an advent calendar before Christmas and there's an asteroid.
Exhibit A of why you play too many games.
Yeah.
You can't even do the calculations on who won the division.
MLB, we banned the shift. Can we get this banned?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But they did clinch last night officially. The math worked out.
Yankees.
But
the only problem with the Dodgers is they still hit really good and pitch really good.
Yeah, they're good at the whole
They're still really good.
When it comes to baseball, they're pretty good.
All right, let's stay on baseball. Mike Trout, our buddy Steve the Pirate pointed out, Mike Trout homered in his 7th straight game.
That's ridiculous.
Congrats, you still lost to Cleveland, though.
Division leader, Cleveland. You want bite your tongue, sir.
White Sox are coming back.
I hope so, especially after the bet I got for tonight. Here's my thing. I'm starting to think maybe Mike Trout didn't really hurt his back. Maybe they sent him to the same lab they sent Wolverine into, and they just pumped him full of animanti.
You think that's what
I think it's a dead
seven games in a row. Look, Mike Trout's a dog. We know that. I mean, he should get surprised he hasn't got kennel cough yet. He's such a dog. But a home run in 7 straight games, you're seeing it. I mean, obviously, the back feels good. The back feels good. Did we have a Wolverine situation? I need to see it. They need to test him. We're banning Fernando Tatis for getting what? What was it? Ringworm medicine from outside the country? Y'all sent this guy to Siberia to get pumped full of magic cement.
What is the Deadpool? What is the Deadpool
I said
reference?
Cement, Blaine.
What is the Deadpool reference you made?
Can I say that on the show? Can I say the M word on the show?
M? Marvel?
Another word for
Marvel?
small person?
No, say small person.
I was saying the Deadpool technique. You get a small person to give you a card and lie to you, then they lock you in a little thing for overnight and for that has no oxygen in it, so you're barely breathing until your genes mutate and you hit a home run for the next.
So they put him. So what Tom Brady does?
Have you not seen Deadpool, David?
I watched the first 15 minutes.
I tell you,
I watched the first 15 minutes. I got to the one scene, and then remember we in the apartment.
Oh yeah,
the apartment.
Code was literally like this. We're sitting by the Code was like this. It's like, man, this is really good. He got up and left. I was like, all right.
Code's like, oh, good, 9:30. He's like, 9:30, got to take my gummy.
Like,
it was really when we were all in the apartment together.
That's right.
You drop a tank in 7 games, though, man. I wonder what that feels like.
I just want to see. Let's test him. I bet it comes back for adamantium. I bet it does. And I want to say the word adamantium.
They're all on something. Let's be honest.
Maybe it's Winstraw.
Except
maybe
Judge.
It's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Except Judge. I still think Judge landed here at a young age. Like they're looking for Superman.
Yeah, no, he's from planet Krypton.
Yeah, they're looking for Superman, and he just wandered off the ship, and they left without him. So he's like, whatever.
He's like one of the normal ones. Like
the first thing he found was a baseball bat.
Yeah,
you know?
Like literally, like
Blaine calls him Rep.
They found him in the backyard chasing chickens. Just like.
What else we got, please?
Steph Curry said a reunion with Kevin Durant was considered by the Golden State Warriors. That would have been a brilliant move by both teams. I mean, punt or go.
Same chapter?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, again, you'd have had you already won 2 NBA championships with him, but him and Draymond were obviously beefing. But who's not beefing with Draymond and KD when it comes down to it? Part of me doesn't believe this.
Okay.
Part of me believes that these superstars try to take care of each other. Because you look at Steph Curry, he's like, yeah, we talked about it. KD's a good dude. He's just misunderstood. I think they're all just trying to protect each other's money. Like you see, typically when you see guys beefing, it's really not 2 mega stars like LeBron and KD or LeBron and Steph. Yeah. It's like KD and the 6th man from the Clippers. Or I feel like these super elite, super rich NBA guys kind of protect each other. He's a good dude. He's misunderstood. He's just so tall. Normal people can't hear what he's really saying.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. Kevin Durant's a snake and Steph Curry's hiding something.
That's exactly right. I don't trust anybody in this situation.
This doesn't feel right. I mean,
if you're Steph and you just won the championship, why do you want this guy back?
No, you just look at
I don't think you do. I think he was just didn't want to cause any waves. I think he didn't want to cause any bulletin board material. How many times has Steph really came out and been like, yeah, I can't stand the guy?
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Steph Curry's not a guy that's going to get up there and be like, look, Patrick Beverly sucks. I hate him.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to do that.
No, I agree. I still Kevin Durant, snake. You're a snake. You're what's the
how's the locker room going to work now at the Nets?
Jafar.
Yeah, Jafar.
At the Nets. I don't know, man. That's going to basically be the view with him and Ben.
And Kyrie?
Yeah, I'm I'm turning into slowly hating the NBA. Like, I downloaded the new NBA 2K game. First thing I see is BLM on it. Immediately quit playing.
Well, it's like, why can't we just play a basketball?
It's like I got the game to play basketball. Can I level up? Why am I
You're doing
they literally made me
conferences?
Go out there and hand out flyers in the game.
Are you serious?
No, it's super political. Like Like it's weird. Like it's getting into
in
everything and it's ruining
in the video game.
In the video,
what do they do?
Like, do you make like BLM flyers? Like,
no way, for real?
In the video game?
Yeah.
Man, that's some subliminals.
They're trying to get into the mind of the young.
Maybe I figured it out. This is the Major League Baseball strategy. BLM backwards, MLB. Maybe this is everybody who's dyslexic out there thinks you're out there handing MLB cards out there. This may be the smartest play. Major League Baseball came together with the NBA. Who knows? Like I said, the Falcons did the greatest tank job of all time last Sunday.
Because it was believable?
Oh, it's 100% believable. Who woke up the next morning like, guys, the Falcons are definitely tanking. They blew a 16-point fourth quarter lead to the Saints. The greatest tank job ever.
For them.
I'm telling you guys right now, Arthur Smith is the greatest NFL coach of all time. The way he was able to choreograph that tank. Marcus Mariota, oh no, I fumbled late. Oh no, oh wait, you're drafting a quarterback? No, I didn't fumble. The biggest mistake of my life.
All right, last one. Hamzat's coach said his decision to have the fighter stop cutting weight in the UFC this past weekend was the coach's decision. Do you still think Dana White put this thing together and staged it?
Oh, for sure. Like I said, the UFC is the best because they have the WWE promo style outside of the ring, but the fighting is real. It's the best of both worlds. It's the smartest play. You satisfy both primal urges, the trash talk, the fights behind the scenes, everybody's going crazy, throwing chairs through buses. Hamzat's eating a hamster in front of everybody. And then you got great fighting in the ring. Nate Diaz getting punched in the face 1,000 times. Tony Ferguson's basically paraplegic now. Like, it's wild. So when I look at this, I feel like, isn't this something, Cone, where you think maybe the coach is protecting him a little bit? Like, this is his coach coming out saying, it was on me, not on Hamzat. I told him not to do it. Because, again, Hamzat's trying to turn into
I thought
the
it was
villain
the
of
medical
UFC.
staff. That's what I thought it was the doctors who now say.
Well, he said it's his coach or trainer. Like, again, there's a lot of titles that sometimes get, lost in translation. But I feel like this is kind of a protect Hamzat thing. That's what I feel like it is.
Didn't he miss it by 7.5?
7.5 pounds. Like I said, you didn't miss it. You didn't miss it by a cookie. Or you didn't miss it by, a Red Lobster cheese
You went
biscuit.
full Golden Corral, some Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, you went 2 Thanksgivings over.
Yeah, for sure. Like Dana, he's a wizard. He makes moving his
best commissioner in sports.
Like, Dana knows what he's doing. It gets to the point in UFC. My favorite thing is just before the fight when they just go up and weigh and just look at each other.
I like the fight.
I like the fight too, but before the fight, I just like seeing a brawl. Like, just, say something. You said, what about my wife? Next thing you know, chairs are getting thrown. Someone's like reporters out there crying. Like, it's just the best.
They're scared.
It's
the
the
reporters
best,
are scared.
It's the best.
That's good stuff. Look, I'm ready to see Hamzat. I want you to fight Colby Covington, man. I want you to stay in go to welterweight, fight Colby Covington. Just make weight, man. Because shuffling the card, could it have been a trick? I don't know. Was this something for Nate Diaz as like a final send off? Even though he said he's going to boxing and then coming back, Nate Diaz isn't going to be able to put words together by the time he's 60 years old. I mean, he's gonna be like the guy from Breaking Bad that has the bell on the wheelchair that he just has to ring.
Yeah, he's a villain from Mindhunter.
That's exactly.
His face changes every night. He goes home and lays down his face is morphing into where.
That's a great
eyes
reference.
Are just moving around. That next morning, it finally just
for people that have that's a great reference.
Mindhunter is a great show. You want something from the Booster Club?
Yeah, let's go Booster.
Matthew Roberts says when Judge hits a home run, it looks like he's barely swinging. Yeah, Matthew, if he's swinging as hard as he can, he'd cause
when you're swinging
an F4 hurricane.
Yeah, when you're swinging an oak tree and it makes contact with the ball, especially in New York in right field. But again, when you're 6'8", 250 pounds, when you're LeBron size swinging a tree, when it makes contact with a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, I'm surprised, it hadn't landed on the moon yet.
Yeah, Travis Elrod says, this is any news headlines for the Angels. Trout goes 3-for-4 with a home run. Ohtani does something we've never seen before. Angels lose 7-3.
You remember the Angels hit 7 home runs and still lost?
Yeah.
They hit 7 solos. They had more solos than Taylor Swift.
Kyle Kenny was that, yeah. Should the UFC increase the penalties for fighters missing weights?
I think you should. I mean, what's more important than the size matching up? Isn't that the whole point? That's why we don't have guys fighting girls. That's why you don't have heavyweights fighting featherweights. The reason the weight's there is it's a more even fight. I think the penalty should be more, especially when you miss it by 7.5 pounds. I mean, you missed it. Yeah. You missed it by 3, classes in Orange Theory.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes the biggest penalty you can have is the money, the money switches.
That is the biggest penalty,
the purse,
of course.
The purse cut is different.
That's exactly right.
All right, Texas S says, watch Deadpool equals support Gina Carano. That is true. Gina.
Yes, we love Gina here.
All right.
Sasha said
that I can get behind.
The Falcons tanked harder than Blaine in August.
That's exactly right.
You watch your mouth, Sasha.
That's right.
I didn't tank. I finished up 8-0.
They tanked so hard his last name should be Gadarian.
Jeez.
Yeah, look that up.
Randy Wise says Aaron Judge is mid.
What? Randy, stop.
You're saying that out of pure hate?
Yeah, that's a diehard Braves fan. I can just feel that's a Braves fan, and I like it.
Hate take. And you know what? We respect that around here.
Sometimes you need those.
Sometimes you need it a little bit. Don't lose to the Giants, Braves.
Blaine's beard. Hey, what's up, man? It says, you don't make weight, you don't get paid. You pay back any advance as well.
That's exactly right.
Hold on. Blaine's beard. That's the...
Yes, Cone, high water pants. Can I help you with something?
Well,
Our Cone's rocket laser arm?
Well, no, I'm just, I formed a great relationship with Blaine's mustache. Apparently, I saved him yesterday, so I just want to make sure. I want to make sure they're cool. I want to make sure Blaine's mustache and Blaine's beard. I want to make sure they're cool. I don't want to have to
Well, they're connected right now.
Look,
are they? Are they? Or is Blaine's? Hold on. Is Blaine's mustache? Is Blaine's mustache a part of Blaine's beard, or is this sort of a?
It's just they're all in an ecosystem together.
Yeah.
It's like the floor of the jungle.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's like the floor of the jungle, Dave.
We've already talked jungle. We've already done enough jungle.
We're all working together, Dave.
The beard does look good, man.
Does it?
It does.
Yeah, you look like the.
I don't know how to trim it.
You look like the assistant manager at a brewery.
No, I look like literally assistant manager at a Best Buy.
You really do.
It's like, you want to look at some Sonys?
Like, literally. All right, let's go one more, and then we'll go to bets. We'll hit our fantasy injury update tomorrow, Kenny.
Riot Highs wants to know, what's up, Riot?
Riot, what's up, buddy?
In here, man. Will the Mariners do anything this season? Please.
I love the Mariners' young core. I mean, you got J-Rod, Logan Gilbert's up there just figuring
He's on the mound tonight.
Robbie Ray. I know the Braves touched him up the other day like a new paint job on an old car, but I mean, the guy's been absolutely dealing. I mean, he basically works at a casino. He's been dealing so well lately. I think the Mariners have the players this year to make a little bit of a run if they can get there. But I'm telling you, I'm buying the Mariners over the next 5 years. I'm really buying them. I like the young core. They need to keep making good moves. Speaking of Seattle, though, it's something we have to mention about the game last night. The Seahawks uniforms were dope.
Oh, fire.
Those uniforms were so dope. I mean, look, a little Oregon vibe, but I like them better than Oregon's. Oregon's is more of like the highlighter yellow. That's more like the neon green. It's like a bunch of huge geckos and lizards running around.
I don't like anything Oregon anymore after they just embarrassed me and themselves.
Yeah, they did embarrass. People are still talking about it.
They embarrassed you.
They did.
People are still talking about it.
You did say Alabama was going to kill Texas.
No. I
don't think that was as crazy of a take as Oregon's going to beat Georgia.
I mean, like it's not your fault. Like, they didn't go out there and perform. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's their fault.
No, I blame you.
Little Tony. Little Tony.
Their fault. Tony Fergus. It's all right, little Tony.
JT Bryan says, at Jake.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna be right here for this.
Great.
Right. He says, I'm greatly disappointed.
In what I do?
Can I finish?
Good. Yes.
Bet on your Braves with Strider on the mound.
I didn't tell you to take that bet.
The only thing they did was let me down.
Yeah, I mean, they lost 3-2. It wasn't like Strider went out there and had a bad outing, but I didn't tell you to take that bet. That's not what I told you to take. I told you to take the Seattle-Denver under. You got to trust me on that one. And maybe the Broncos minus.
That under was not looking good in the first.
I called Reed and was upset.
Yeah.
I called Reed and was upset because she still is figuring out like what betting is. So she texted me because she's an Alabama fan. She's like, yay, Jerry Jeudy. And I was like, I didn't need that. She was like, why? I was like, I got the under. And she's like, well, aren't you happy, though, that Jerry Jeudy made a good play? I was like, you don't get this. It's like Dr. Evil.
Why would you ever think I'd be happy about an Alabama player making
it's like Dr. Evil. It's like, he's like, Scott, you don't get it, do you? You don't. You don't. But anyways. All right, one more, Blaine. Let's get to this play, and then we'll get to
Only one more?
I mean, no, we can go some more.
Matthew Roberts says, are Judge's swings keeping the Hurricanes away right now?
Well, number one, I think we could help fight climate change if Aaron Judge would just go swing a lot in Antarctica and help the
You don't need windmills. We don't need that.
Yeah.
They send Aaron Judge out in the field and have him hit a little BP.
Yeah, that you could just plug Aaron Judge in every time he hits BP, and you'd be able to power this. Rolling blackouts, what's that? Aaron Judge is hitting BP.
Devin21. Devin, I love your optimism, to be honest. Hashtag Ask Jay.
Auburn's not going to win.
Yeah.
Penn State, Auburn.
Do you still think Auburn wins all their home games?
here's the debacle that I'm in. And everybody that has ever watched Auburn do anything knows this, especially if you're an Auburn fan. The minute, and Auburn's personnel is not good. The quarterback situation is not good right now. But there's something about Jordan Hare.
Yeah, there is.
There's just something about it. And the minute that you discount Auburn at home is the minute something nuts happens. So I'm in this purgatory of you're not good. You're just not a good football team, athletic talent-wise. But it's at Jordan Hare. And I've watched Auburn teams that were deficient in a lot of areas beat teams they shouldn't multiple times. We're talking about SEC teams with experience going to Jordan Hare, let alone Penn State coming down into the jungle to see what it's about. That's why if you ask me to bet this game, don't touch it. Like Boy's drum set off Step Brothers. Don't touch it. Why are you sweating? I just got done watching Cops. It better be true because you're not touching the drum set. I would not touch it. I would not be shocked at all if Auburn beats Penn State, goes 3-0, wins game 4 against a team they should beat, and then LSU comes to town and LSU finds a way to somehow blow it or something crazy happens. Auburn starts out 5-0. Everybody's like, Brian Hart's like, Jake, you're wrong. Auburn's making the playoff. And then we go to Georgia and don't get a first down.
Look, I'm betting Penn State money line.
You're betting Penn State money. You're touching it.
I don't believe
you're touching
it. It's a win-win.
Oh, you're just an emotional hedge
Penn
bet?
State wins.
Then why would you not take Auburn plus 3.5?
Because what if they don't cover?
If they win, you cover. If they lose, you can still cover. If you take Penn State money line.
I like the odds. What's Penn State? I think it's
minus 110 both ways. I think taking Penn State money line is going to be even worse. It's going to be what?
No, I don't want to bet Auburn 3.5 and watch them cover. I don't want that. I'd rather even Auburn. I don't want Auburn to lose. I don't want Auburn to lose and me be right. I want either Penn State to win or Auburn to lose. It's a win-win.
Penn State money line is minus 145.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Look, I would much rather, if Auburn's going to lose and let me cover. And if you win, I cover. That's a win-win, not taking Penn State money line.
I don't want to take Auburn to cover losing. I just don't.
I don't know.
Either Penn State wins and I win the bet, or Auburn wins and I lose the bet, but I win emotionally.
I think you're going about this the wrong way, but I'm about to go the right way over to the board of trust, justice, truth, lies. And Steph Curry really doesn't like Kevin Durant.
Truth and lies?
Truth and lies. Two things can be true and a lie at once.
That does not sound right.
I don't think that's real.
Well, again, use a dictionary or a thesaurus, and maybe you can figure it out. And a thesaurus,
you can do it, yeah.
Yeah, a thesaurus.
Take your time.
A thesaurus isn't like a dinosaur. It's an actual book that has words and roots of the words and other stuff in it as well. At least that's what I was told. Never read one. All right, here's what I got today. Give me the White Sox. minus 1.5 at home.
I like that.
I know Chad Kuhl from the Rockies has been pretty good, but the Rockies are out of the playoffs. They don't care. White Sox, we need it. Can we just score 10 runs in the first inning? That's all I ask. I'm not asking for a miracle, but just one time in the bottom of the first. Kopech, let's get up there in the top of the first, 3 up, 3 down. Everybody loves everybody. ELE, check the ring. Then the bottom of the first inning, give me 10 runs. Then give me Pods, Mariners, Nerfy, minus 140. Yu Darvish, Logan Gilbert, big-time pitching matchup. No walks, put it in play. Let's go 2-0 tonight. I'm 18, 19-1, keeping it a little bit theater, and we're going to see how it goes.
I like it.
What's in your book of friendship?
Jays, Rays, Nerfy, minus 125. Got Mona on the mound, Jeffrey Springs on the mound. 2.54 ERA for Springs, Mona 2.42. Let's see if we can get out of the first with no runs. And then Braves, money line, minus 155. They are on the road, but Kyle Wright's on the mound.
JT Bryan, don't blame me if the Braves lose now, because I didn't tell you to take that bet. Cone's taking the Braves, but I like it with Kyle Wright. You know, I don't hate the hey, Coney, I don't hate the Nerfy here. You know the Nerfies I like the most?
I don't either.
When a good pitcher is the one on the road.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that bottom of the first, you know, because typically at home, you're going to come out and get guys out in the top of the first. A lot of momentum in a big game. Bottom of the first, that's when you need the dog. That's why if Jacob deGrom is ever pitching on the road, I am taking the Nerfy for that game. You can go ahead and just look in you quilt that in your memory blanket.
JT Bryan, I need you to stay in here and just keep talking about how disappointed you are in the Braves.
I don't like this.
I need you to stay in the chat and keep that same energy.
No, now the suits are messed up.
All right. Off to my bets. Little Milwaukee. Cardinals, Nerfy. Minus 130. Can't wait to watch Paul Goldschmidt hit a home run.
He does that.
That'll be so dope to watch. Then Cubs, Mets. DeGrom on the mound, so the Cubs don't ruin it for me. The Mets are the one team I've struggled with Nervy is the Mets, man.
Speaking of DeGrom, that's DeGrom and Adrian Sampson. And you'll look at Adrian Sampson's record and you're like, oh, it's not good. But look into the numbers. The dude's been pitching pretty good. I think he's 1-5, but he's got like a 3.26 ERA, something like that. I mean, he's put up some pretty good numbers. Baby Cone, 21-17. Here he goes again, David. You did this.
Yeah.
You created this person that is doing this to us. So I just hope you know that. He's 21-17 on the month. He's going to be bet buds with the kid. Not a bad situation right now, the way Baby Cone's been pretty hot. That's me.
Oh, okay.
That's me.
I didn't know
the
that.
kid, the man, the legend, the myth.
Right. You're 30.
I'm 32.
Oh.
You're
welcome.
Right.
You're welcome.
Her name's Christina.
You're welcome for that.
All right, here's what he got. He's going to go Padres, Mariners, Nerfy, like me. We'll see how it goes. Then he's going Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Nerfy, at a steady minus 140. Clayton Kershaw, Merrill Kelly. Should be a good little matchup on the mound. Clayton, how's the curveball working? Is it flat or is it moving like a bat? We'll see. And not the bat you swing in baseball. It's not what I was saying, Cone.
It's like a bat that flies.
It's like a bat that flies and lives in caves and got Batman pissed off enough to be rich and nuts.
Is the analogies thing still at Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
That guy has to work his ass off.
Oh, yeah.
He's the hardest working Twitter account probably around.
He put a whole page. No, he's doing good, too. I think he's almost got 100 followers or something like that. He's doing good.
The come up.
The come up. The
Yeah,
truth.
Sure.
Hashtag remember me now. Or don't be a fan later.
Travis Elrod says, Jake, you can't be the kid and the man.
Yeah, why can I not be the kid and the man? Why can I not be that?
No,
How dare you assume my truth?
No.
How dare you? Was that Travis you said?
So T. Elrod, yeah.
TL? Yeah? Yeah, you know who's better than TL? Kyle. You want to know why? Because that's where Superman's from. I think that was his dad, who was also Russell Crowe, who Cone watched do a pregame speech. So in theory, Cone watched Kyle and Kyle do a pregame
How dope
speech.
was that?
It was the first game I ever played in.
Did you really believe him, though, or were you like, man, I feel like he was acting?
No, I didn't. But at that time, you have to understand he was my favorite.
See, that's
actor.
what I couldn't.
Just coming off Gladiator, I think he was up there, shooting 310 to humor.
Like I couldn't be married
Next
to
thing you know, like there's a
He did the whole. We're about to play Notre Dame. He did the whole strength and honor.
You're walking into a coliseum.
You're walking to play football, and you know you're just walking to a coliseum.
Oh no, we were ready to kill someone.
There's guys in chariots just going around.
Yeah. They painted strength and honor in the big house after his.
That's why I could never marry an actress because like, are you like, especially a good one? You know, if you're a bad actress. Like I could tell, you know, when you're acting.
Well, what woman's not an actress?
Well, let me ask you this: we beat Notre Dame 38-0 that day, so clearly we believed it.
That's all that matters.
Maybe you see every pregame just be him.
Just Russell Crowe.
He'll win every game.
He comes flying in like lands.
He'll win every. No, he just like
could have used them against Marshall.
He just like barrel rolls into. He's mud and blood all over him.
He's gonna be here. He's not entertained.
He's right.
Here's our Booster Club leaderboard. Katie Rose is 4-0. Had some people that got up there, kind of fell off a little bit. Remember, you make the Hall of Fame being 10-0. We are getting those shirts made to send out. We just want to make sure the logo is right. So Katie Rose, 1191's 4-0. Lava Leech is 3-0. The Red Aaron, Cone's Laser Rocket Harm, Blaine's Mustache, BJPS09XU13, Young NASCAR, all 2-0. Neftink, Scotty in Texas, and Tyson's Right Hook are all 1-0. I put out the tweet every day. Blaine, we got 1 minute. Actually, we kind of control the time, so we got a little bit more than that. But parting thoughts, our Booster Club, our poll.
Poll?
Will
the Cowboys, them Cowboys make the playoffs?
Them Cowboys, go over the division. Look up the division real quick so the listeners, let's look up the division because I picked the Eagles to win it.
Yeah, I did too.
I think we all agreed there. But let's go over their division and see now that a few things have happened because there's somebody a little bit on the horizon there that we may need to discuss.
NFC East.
Yes.
And Washington
Dallas Cowboys.
Too.
Yes.
The New York Gigantes. The Philadelphia Eagles. And the Washington Redskins.
Ooh. I'm going to tell you right now. Could the Cowboys finish last in the division now that Dak's out?
Washington
Your offensive
good.
line's beat up. You don't have a ton of weapons at wide receiver. Michael Gallup's out. The Giants just won. I know it's one game. Everybody doesn't need to freak out. But the Eagles, I know they kind of let the Lions back, which, by the way, in our NFL preview, what did I say, Cone? That's going to be a 3 or 4 point game. In Detroit, I know the Eagles really kind of left them. But Jared Goff, who I saw actually scramble and make a move, and it worked. And I looked outside to make sure a meteor wasn't about to hit the earth or, the hell was going to freeze over. But I'm telling you right now, I would go. I think there's a chance the Cowboys could finish last in that division. That's crazy.
I had the Eagles 5.5 against the Lions.
Oh, you did?
I did have DeAndre Swift.
Well, it's just like the Commanders had to cover late for me. Jahan Dotson, another thing we called, who's not a Penn State anymore.
He's on my bench. I'm telling you, Jahan was a witch.
Not in the Daily Wire League.
Not in the Daily Wire League. He's on my bench.
No, not in the Daily Wire League.
Yeah, I think he's on my bench. I need to look. I'm in like 4 leagues. But top play of the day.
Wait, did you say that was a poll?
That was a poll? Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got to vote on it.
What was the question again?
Will they make the
Cowboys
playoffs?
make the playoffs?
No.
What's your percentage?
David.
No.
This game works.
68%.
Yes. If that, just in general.
They make the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God, no. 90%.
90%?
Wow,
You're a
that's
liar.
like one of our
You're a
first
liar.
90%.
You're a
right
liar.
there.
Yes.
90. The Booster Club can't agree 90% on
the
anything.
Booster Club.
No Cowboys fans in
and
there.
I love it.
Maybe that's one
No one
thing.
really likes the Cowboys. I don't even think Jerry Jones likes them.
Well, obviously not. This would be the greatest con job of all time. But real quick, top play from last night. This is a heads-up play. Watch the catcher. The Marlins are up 10-6, bottom of the 7th. 2-2 count. Watch our boy Heim here behind the plate. Let's go and run it.
Here's a 2-2.
Oh, off the mitt, off the face mask.
Face mask.
And then he bare hands it? In
With
2-ball,
bare
you're
hand?
out.
Goodness. That one was
So if you're on audio, it was a
Ow.
foul tip that hits the catcher's glove, goes off the front of his mask, goes
Love
up
it.
in the air so it hadn't hit the ground so it could still be an
What a
out,
play.
and he catches it with his bare hand.
God, that was such a good swing.
This is a cut ball special. Now,
Look at
that ball
that.
went exactly where it had to
You're
go
out.
for a right-handed guy to be able to make that play, but that's a big league.
I'm going to
that's
be
a big league
honest.
play.
Let's be honest. You
Be
play baseball
poke honest?
before. Yes, you play baseball. It's really not that hard to make barehanded plays.
No,
It's not.
not as hard as it
It's
looks.
not. It's
Not as
really
hard
not
as
as hard as it looks. I know it looks cool. It looks cool. It might look like it's tough, but it's really
Well, the hardest part about making the play on it like a slow roller, if you're at third, is having to bend down that far to pick it up. It's not the act of barehanding. Like I used to make plays sometimes where if the ball was hopping to my left, I'm right-handed, and it spun back off the dirt to my right hand, I'd put my right hand up and catch it. And I mean, it wasn't like it was that difficult, but like pop-ups, we've seen guys go catch foul balls with their bare
David
hands.
Wright, you say, I can't remember. There's a left fielder multiple times that just caught the ball with his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know,
Absolute
the thing about it is
mitts.
you know how to catch a baseball right, too. It really doesn't hurt that bad either.
No, it's again,
But good plays.
bending over, getting the slow roller, and then making that throw while raising up. Right-handed ball kind of tails away when you do it because you're throwing it basically 3/4 if you want to get the runner out with the way they run in the major leagues. But, guys, great show. Got another great one tomorrow. We have a couple big-time guests. We're going to reveal those, and you kind of already revealed it earlier. But make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Just had our first video that hit over 500,000. Really appreciate you guys. We want to make that one of many. Go to the Daily Wire Plus, dailywire.com, sign up, become a member, and you can get a bunch of backstage access. We do all access on Thursday. Parting thoughts, Cone? You got anything?
No, I'm ready to get Coach Helton in here.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Blaine, what do you got?
What do I got?
What do you have? Anything?
Yeah. So, look, we might as well mention this. So, I was out a couple days.
Yes.
I was a little bit sick and under the weather, and also my car got stolen.
Yeah.
Got broken into in my apartment complex and stolen. If you decide to move to Nashville, do not move to Octave. It's a terrible place to live. But they found it yesterday.
They found your car.
They found it 3 hours away. And for the person who stole it, I wish nothing but the worst for you.
Yeah, that was tough.
in every way.
Man,
I'm
we're
glad
here
you got
for
it back, though.
Hey, found it, got it back. It's in one piece. Apparently there's no damage to it. Probably going to get it detailed, for Dirty Mike and the boys. But other than that,
Dirty Mike and the boys. Dirty Mike. I
There's
get that
other
reference
guys.
now.
There you
I get
go.
that reference
Yeah,
now.
there you
How about
go.
a Pulp Fiction reference when Vincent Vega said, it would have been worth them doing it if I could have caught them doing it.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly right.
It would have been worth
that's
it.
a great
Tarantino's best. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check us out tomorrow, live, 7:30 to 9 Eastern. That's 6:30 to 8 Central. In Bangladesh, that's 1 in the afternoon. I don't know if that's true or not. We appreciate you guys. And like the chances of the Dodgers not clinching the playoffs, now that the error's been corrected, we're going.